Hey, welcome in. Welcome in to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. This is actually take number 3. Take 3. It's taken 3 takes to get this thing up here. It really has. It's taken 3 darn takes. Episode show number 32 of the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I was in the bank the other day. Got our music rolling there, but I was in the bank the other day and a song came on. You know how the banks have kind of music tracks and things like that. Looking over the bridge there. All of a sudden this song comes on at the bank. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. You guys know the song Shaka Khan. I feel for you, right? Yeah, our executive producer always kind of says that song when he's talking about shotgun. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Well, you know, and we can all say Shaka Khan, we feel for you. I know you've lost a lot of games as an owner. You've seen the playoffs twice since you've owned the team, I believe. And here we go again. Although, I like some recent moves by GM James Lanston. And I kind of see where they're coming from. Now, you got young guys there. Head coach is young. GM's young. Offensive coordinator Grant Udinski is very young. I think at 29, almost 30 years old. We'll round him up to 30. How about that? So, I'm gonna stop the music for a moment, though. I love the music. You know, we crank up the rock music and whatnot. I'm not as big a fan of Shaka Khan. I feel for you. You know that song. But we do feel for Shad Khan. Could this be the year the Jags start to turn a corner with the new GM, new head coach? Tony Baselli is the executive vice president of football operations. Talking to my executive producer, JC, who by the way, is now on vacation. Well deserved, JC, and have great fun on your vacation. I don't know where he went. Usually when JC goes on vacation, you don't hear much out of him, but he's out there, and he's helped us a lot. The last conversation I had with JC might have been, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 days ago, and we talked about the Jaguars, of course, like we always do, and a few other things, but what I liked about our conversation is, and JC got to the point, he said, hey, it's about Trevor Lawrence now, upgrading this team. Because now he's got the wide receivers, you know, be it they're young. Travis Hunter, man, I saw some stuff about Jeff Logman. Kind of described Travis Hunter as one heck of an athlete. And will he perform as a wide receiver in the NFL in a good way? I think he will. How good or great he can become, who knows? We had a year with Brian Thomas Jr. where the guy, I mean, he got over 1,200 yards receiving, multiple touchdown catches, and he actually became the first guy in a long time that you could say, hey, he's our number one wide receiver. Travis Hunter, I think he comes into training camp as a rookie, is probably the number 2 guy with a lot to prove, but he's got a lot of talent. He's got the speed. You've got 2 guys at wide receiver who could make the season very, very interesting. Offensive line is crucial, as we know. We talked offense on our last podcast. This is episode show number 32 of the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Man, we love being with you, but you know what? I'm gonna kind of change the tide here in episode show number 32. We're gonna talk some defense. There's been some moves made by Gladstone, and I think maybe one of the best ones recently. You know, there's guys shuffling around the league. Jaguars signed a guy from the Cardinals, you know, who can do a lot of things, and he's gotten sacks too. I think you're going to have sacks by committee as well on this team. Josh Allen has got to be the sacks leader, making the money he's making, according to Liam Cohen, he can't be average. That's what I heard from Gaylor. That he heard that Liam Cohen, I guess, said during the OTAs or somewhere a few weeks back during some practices, he said, all that money Josh Hines Allen is making, man, he can't be average. And that is a true statement. The guy goes from, 17 and a half sacks down to what did he get last year? 8 sacks, 8 to 9 sacks last year. It went way down. Trayvon Walker's been fairly consistent, even though he gets blocked a lot. The move I really like that the Jaguars made in the last week is signing a guy who used to be in Jacksonville. A guy that I feel was drafted by Tom Coughlin. Probably one of Tom's last draft picks while he was the executive vice president of football operations, like Tony Baselli is right now. We're 6 minutes in on the podcast, JC, wherever you are. Have a great vacation. But when I talk about Tom Coughlin, everything, when Dave Codwell was a GM, he was a GM for a long time, and then Coughlin came in as executive vice president. And the feeling was when Dave Codwell wanted to make a draft pick, any draft pick he made, it had to go through Tom Coughlin. You know, a guy that's back on the Jaguars roster, and I think it's a great move. The guy, I think he's about 30 years old now, still kind of in his, what would you say, late prime now at 30. Big linebacker, defensive end type. And we're talking about Dewan Smoot. Played with the Buffalo Bills last year. Buffalo brought him in as a piece. And he's being brought back to the Jaguars as a piece. This is a guy that, you know, he had a rookie deal with the Jags. He was drafted in the 3rd round. I think he was upset he wasn't drafted maybe late in the 1st round. He thought of himself as a 1st-round pick, but the Jags got him in the 3rd round. And I'm pretty sure it was TC, Tom Coughlin, who wanted Dewan Smoot. I really do. I think Smoot was a Coughlin guy. Dave Codwell had to go along with that one. And this guy's had a good career. I mean, 3rd rounder. I mean, he's not a superstar, but let me tell you, you know, in Trayvon Walker's rookie year, Smoot was getting sacks when Walker wasn't at times. We could see more of the same. You know, there's some stuff that we've got a little bit of a following on Twitter. We got a few hundred people that follow us on Twitter. And I was actually excited when I found out the Jags had signed Dewan Smoot. My first comment was this is a great move. If he's healthy, right, and near 100%, Smoot plays hard. This move should allow Armstead and even Trayvon Walker to play inside more, would be my guess. Should push the main core of the Jags defense too. And I'm talking about the 1st rounders. I'm talking about the Devin Lloyds of the world. A guy that, hey, the Jaguars haven't offered him the 5th-year option, right? And this is his 4th year. He's in a contract year. Trayvon Walker got the 5th-year option, but basically what Trayvon is in what, his 4th year? But he got the 5th-year option. It's time for these guys to really pick it up, the 1st-rounders on defense. They got to look in the mirror. Josh Hines Allen, all of a sudden I'm looking at these press conferences, and I haven't really asked too many people about this, but I'm hearing, wait, he played at too heavy a weight last year. Is that an excuse? Is that the reason why the sacks went way down? From what, 17 and a half, all the way down to 8 or 9? I need to pull the exact stats up. But so in other words, as far as the sack totals went, Josh Hines Allen only had really close to half the sacks in 2024 that he had in 2023, and then all of a sudden it's brought up he was playing above his weight, 285. You know, for a linebacker / defensive end edge rusher, an edge guy, a lot of people, including myself, might say, yeah, that's a little bit heavy. Um, I think Smoot and some of these other guys that the Jaguars, not the super duper star studded superstar free agents, but these are the guys that are bit players that you build the roster around that you can get something out of at a decent price. And let me tell you, DeJuan Smoot, he loved Jacksonville. He had signed a rookie contract and then a second contract. Then he signed for, I think, another year or two. He's had like 3 contracts in Jacksonville. This might be his 4th contract, I believe. He was in Buffalo last year with our executive producer, JC's Buffalo Bills. And I told JC, I said, man, if DeJuan Smoot's right, if he's healthy and right and near 100%, he's a good signing. So you got Smoot, who can play the big linebacker, defensive end type and get some sacks. I don't believe he's an edge guy, but he's a big linebacker, defensive end. And I think Smoot, if he's playing a lot of football, he'll be on the rotation, but let's say he's playing a lot. It's gonna probably move guys like Trayvon Walker inside more, Eric Armstead. And then Mason Smith has got to be on his toes too. He was drafted in the 2nd round as a defensive tackle out of LSU for the Jaguars. So, again, I think you may be surprised at what happens. I think the plan will be to move Trayvon Walker and Armstead inside more, opening up some slots. Defensive tackle Mason Smith moving into his 2nd year better be on his A game now. I think if Smoot is healthy, he will play a big linebacker, defensive end type spot also. Training camp, again in the end, training camp, crucial. I mean, the Jags have been busy this offseason adding edge depth with Ogba, Smoot, and Gardeck. These guys. Which, team sacks, team tackles, ladies and gentlemen, it is a team game. When you're paying a guy, Josh Hines-Allen is a superstar on defense because they're paying him to be. He didn't play in the last game last year. Things got to change. Now, he's playing at 285 last year. What was going on? Was he really at 285? He feels like he plays at a lighter weight. He's going to get more sacks. The heavier playing weight, that was brought up. Is that an excuse for last year? Or is that reality? Is that why Josh Hines-Allen's sack totals went down? I think Smoot, if he's healthy, if he's right, he could play a lot of football, playing the big linebacker, defensive end. And I think some of these guys like Trayvon Walker, in order to get that big contract in the future, I think he's got to play inside more. Man, Laramie Tunsil took him to school. He couldn't get around Laramie Tunsil for almost a half of football, and then he had to go all the way around and go up to the middle to try to get a crack at the QB. So what I think, why not play him inside to begin with, and he can get that head start going up the middle, right? And he can make more tackles. He's got to prove his game by making more tackles. The sacks will come even up the middle. Overall, I think as a team, it could make the Jaguars' defensive team even better. So I wanted to talk about the defense. I'm not finished talking about the defense. There was some good, about OTAs. A couple of people said, hey, Buster Brown is looking good. I've always liked him. He's got good technique. He plays hard. He was drafted late in the draft. Buster Brown. You got Antonio Johnson. You got, the kid Jones out of Florida State, the 3rd round pick. Everybody from the 3rd round and later that's playing defensive backs, most of those guys are playing hard. And then you got Tyson Campbell, who was not a 1st round pick. He was an early 2nd round pick back in 2021. He's gotten a new contract. I'm expecting big things out of Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell and Josh Hines-Allen have got to be the leaders on this defense. And Smoot, too, because he had been here so long before. And Smoot has got to be healthy, right? Smoot will play hard. And I think it'll affect the defense, actually, to make things better for the former first-rounders. Well, they'll always be first-rounders. Devin Lloyd, this may be his last year with the Jaguars. He's in a contract year. Devin Lloyd, man, it's time to step up at linebacker. Josh Hines-Allen, got to earn his money. Got to play harder. When you're making that kind of money, like Liam Cohen said, I believe Gaylor told me, Liam Cohen said, when you make that much money, you can't be average. So that's my take at the defense. I love the Jags defensive backs. They play hard. They're talented. They've got good technique. And in Anthony Campanelli's defense, they seem to like him already. They may be able to thrive. But preseason training camp is important and crucial. But, man, I'm going to tell you, the preseason results, the games, the wins and losses don't matter. But when they kick off in September, wins and losses are going to matter this year, and even more in the second year of this regime with Gladstone, the head coach Liam Cohen, and all of them. Tony Baselli, I think Tony's going to be around for a long time with the Jaguars. He'll probably retire in this position. He's got a few years left before he retires, though. I know that. The vice president of football operations, Tony Baselli, they want to win. And in the end, it's all about wins and losses as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars regime is concerned now in 2025. It's about wins and losses after the first year, and it's about wins and losses for the first 2 years, especially after 2026. The goal should be at least 2 playoff appearances in the next 4 years. And over the next 2 years and the next 4 years, this team should register more wins than losses. North Florida Entertainment, man, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are 37-25. They're starting to get some pitching. They did win 3-2. Let's see, they were playing the Durham Bulls, I believe. You know, you can go to our we are on Twitter, which is called the X. Man, Donald Trump got into it with Elon Musk. That's for another podcast somewhere else. Beautiful weather. You know, rain's come back into the forecast. Partly cloudy, warm, and muggy out there. Humidity is returning. Partly cloudy, hot and humid in North Florida today, and breezy at times in North Florida. Hot high temperature in the afternoon around 96, lows at night 74. Rain chance about 30% today on this Sunday, June the 8th. Winds west to southwest and picking up and breezy at times at about 8 to 23 miles per hour. Winds out of the west-southwest at about 8 to 23 miles per hour in North Florida, and particularly here in Jacksonville, Florida. AAA baseball at home in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville again finds some more good pitching. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp 3, Durham Bulls 2, a final on Saturday, June the 7th of 2025. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, let's see, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are now, they improved to 37-25, according to BigJReport.com. Indoor Football League, nice and very good IFL win for the Jacksonville Sharks at home. Jacksonville Sharks 54. Let's see, Arizona Rattlers are supposed to be the best team in the IFL. Jacksonville Sharks got them. Jacksonville Sharks 54. The Arizona Rattlers 48 at home here in Jacksonville at the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. So that's some of what's going on. Concerts recently, Rick Springfield. What was that? That show was in St. Augustine, St. Augustine. Rick Springfield, Wang Chung, and I think Wang Chung sounded great during their show, right? We talked about the Jaguars, and that's mainly what we do here on the Teal Shirt Report, episode show number 32 out there. Man, I hear the train in the distance here in the Riverside area of Jacksonville, Florida. Man, I hear that train, man. It's soothing. At least I'm far enough away from the tracks where it's it's not super loud. We'll take a look at some concerts here. Yeah, let's take a look at some concerts now. Rick Springfield, Wang Chung. That was a super good show. Howard Cogswell helps us. Howard spent many years in the radio industry as well. Howard helps us with the Big J Report Facebook group. Let's take a look at some concerts coming up. Don't forget about checking out the madmaxmix.weebly.com on Wednesday nights. JC live from the pub on Thursday nights at LakevilleHits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. And we're also brought to you by Saucer Realty and Capital for your real estate needs in North Florida. Go to our homepage. Right in the middle of the weather reports or toward the end of the weather reports, you'll see a link for Saucer Realty and Capital, whether it's residential, home, real estate, whether you want to sell your home, whether it's home, residential, or even business or commercial real estate. It's Saucer Realty and Capital. And you will absolutely find a link on the homepage for Saucer Realty and Capital. You go to the Neighbors 2 section at bigjreport.com. You'll find a link for Max's show on Wednesday nights, www.madmaxmix.weebly.com. Max is on Wednesday nights playing music pop classics and classic rock on Wednesday nights. JC's got his brand of music. And Max and JC, I mean, they play some of the same stuff, but, you know, JC is a good show. Max is a good show. Check it out. madmaxmix.weebly.com on Wednesday nights, 6 to 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Eastern Time, madmaxmix.weebly.com. On Wednesday nights, I think Mad Max has the technical problems out of the way now. And check out JC's show at LakevilleHits.com live from the pub on Thursday nights, getting underway at 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Recent concerts. Rick Springfield was in concert in St. Augustine at the St. Augustine Amphitheater. Rick Springfield, I Want My 80s Tour featuring John Waite, Wang Chung, and John Cafferty was held back on Thursday night, May the 29th of 2025 at the St. Augustine Amphitheater. And the show got some good reviews already, especially on Wang Chung's performance. Rick Springfield sounding good, looking good as well. For his age, Rick Springfield now 75 years young. Coming soon, the rock band Heart. That's coming up in just a few days. The rock band Heart, they are in, this was discussed a few episodes back. Heart is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They were inducted, I believe, back in about 2013. The rock band Heart will be performing in St. Augustine, Florida on Tuesday evening, June the 24th of 2025 at 7 o'clock p.m. at the St. Augustine, Florida Amphitheater. Also, Brad Paisley will be in concert in St. Augustine on Saturday, August the 2nd of 2025 at 7:30 p.m. at the St. Augustine Amphitheater. And also another great event that we did discuss with Mad Max, I believe last Wednesday on his show, the Monkees. But there's only one monkey left that's living, and that's Mickey Dolenz, who's 80 years old now. Also another great event, tickets for Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, Songs and Stories at the Florida Theater. Tickets are on sale now. And I think this would be interesting to go to, especially if you remember the TV show, you remember the songs. A great event. Tickets for Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees, Songs and Stories at the Florida Theater in downtown Jacksonville on December the 5th of 2025. Tickets are on sale now for Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees. So there you go. Give you some North Florida entertainment right here on the Teal Shirt Report podcast, episode show number 32. We were also going to take a look at some semi-pro football action. I gave you the Shark score a moment ago. We try to stay up to date as much as we can on the website with semi-pro football. And that includes semi-pro football, outdoor, also, indoor football leagues like the IFL, the NAL. Let me pull up some of the scores we recently got on semi-pro football as well as indoor football action. Here we go. Give you some of these. Congratulations to Champ. Champ Samuels will be in the APDFL title game that'll be played in New Orleans next weekend on June the 14th. The Columbus, Georgia Storm will play the Port City Vikings out of Mobile, Alabama. And that is a team that Champ Samuels plays defensive line for. He's a veteran on this team, and he's won a ring. He won a ring for the Georgia Cobras back just a couple of years ago in the EAFL. Let's take a look at some semi-pro football action recently. Indoor Football League, nice and very good IFL win again for the Jacksonville Sharks at home. The Jacksonville Sharks 54. The Arizona Rattlers 48. The Jacksonville Sharks with a 54-48 victory over the Arizona Rattlers on Saturday night, June the 7th of 2025. The Jacksonville Sharks, boy, what a difference a year makes from last year. The Jacksonville Sharks now a contender in the Indoor Football League. The Jacksonville Sharks are now 7-3 in the IFL. Other semi-pro football action in the EAFL, the Georgia Cobras recently were eliminated from EAFL playoffs. The Alabama Commandos 30, the Georgia Cobras 20, a final score back on Saturday, May the 31st of 2025. This game was played in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. National Arena League, Wheeling, West Virginia Miners 47, the Columbus, Georgia Lions 44. A final score back on May the 31st of 2025 in Columbus, Georgia. The Columbus, Georgia Lions are now 5-4. More semi-pro football scores. The Port City Vikings from Mobile, Alabama won a 1-point victory, 28-27, over the Crescent City Kings from Louisiana. And this is how the Port City Vikings now have advanced to the APDFL Championship game to be held in New Orleans on June the 14th, coming up, in just a few days. More semi-pro football scores again in the APDFL playoffs. Port City Vikings from the Mobile, Alabama area 28. The Crescent City Kings from Louisiana 27. A final back on Saturday, May the 31st of 2025. So that's kind of a review of semi-pro football and indoor football. We had a lot of the music going though, so I'll try to watch that. Executive producer JC on vacation. Want to thank Alex Dudry. Alex has been. We're going to try to get some of Alex's interviews on YouTube and up on the website. Alex was covering the Jacksonville Axemen, the rugby team, the professional rugby team. They have been in Jacksonville I think almost 20 years. They're very successful. And Alex Nunnery, Brother Nunnery, Alex Nunnery, our Big J sports reporter, was covering the Jacksonville Axemen. Alex had reports on our Big J Report Facebook group, and you'll be seeing some stuff on the website coming up too. Again, Alex Nunnery, thank you for all your reports on Jacksonville Axemen rugby. That's a tough, rumble sport. It's like football with no huddles. They just keep moving, man. Those are some big, strong guys, and they are in incredibly good shape. The Jacksonville Axemen. Alex Nunnery covered them in a game on, June the 7th. And they got another game coming up, too. We'll be updating the Axemen, the Jacksonville Axemen, on our website, also in our Facebook group as well. Keeping it under 30 minutes. We're brought to you by Saucer Realty and Capital, the MadMaxFix.weebly.com. Max is show on Wednesday nights. JC live from the pub on Thursday nights at LakeUfallHits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. Special thanks to our executive producer, JC, who is on vacation, by the way. Alex Nunnery been working hard covering the Jacksonville Icemen back on June the 7th. And want to thank John Gaylor for his great comments when he and I messaged back and forth. I want to thank John Gaylor, a contributor and correspondent with the Teal Shirt Report podcast and BigJReport.com. Ian Ferguson, thank you for covering the soccer team, the Jacksonville Armada, with a big comeback win. They were winning 3-0. The team they were playing came back on them, tied the score at 3-3, and the Jacksonville Armada, they had to move locations at the last minute. Edward Waters University said, you can't play your games here. It had something to do with the concession contracts or what have you. I don't know the whole story. There's not been a lot forthcoming from Edward Waters. They kind of cited some administrative problems. But so all of a sudden now the Armada, they're absolutely going to get a new stadium in Jacksonville real soon. But they had to move from Edward Waters University to Patton Park and play these games on June the 7th. You know, there's a women's team, too, with the Armada, and they got a great team. But let me give you, let me see if I can find the most recent score, because Ian Ferguson has been updating us in the Big J Report Facebook group on Jacksonville Armada Soccer. Let me give you some of the latest information. The Armada won. The Armada's like 5-0 now. Tremendous. The Armada just played Club D Lion. Jacksonville Armada news from Armada contributor Ian Ferguson. June the 7th of 2025 from Armada contributor Ian Ferguson. The doubleheader that was moved to Patton Park. The doubleheader, the women's game and then a men's game after that. The doubleheader in soccer at Patton Park started off with a 5-0 win for the Jacksonville Armada FC ladies. The men's game then kicked off on Saturday evening, June the 7th at about 7:30 p.m. in a nail-biter, according to Ian Ferguson, in a nail-biter of a match. The Jacksonville Armada Football Club, Jacksonville Armada FC, the men's team went up 3-0. They were winning 3-0 before Club de Lion fought back to tie it at 3-3, but showing all the grit and determination that the fans have come to love from their Jacksonville Armada. They found the net for the 4-3 win as the clock ticked down, and they remained undefeated now at 5-0-0. Again, this game of the doubleheader was moved to Patton Park after Edward Waters University was not able to host this game at the last minute. I want to thank Ian Ferguson keeping us up to date with Jacksonville Armada Soccer. We cover the Jacksonville Jaguars. We do. We cover the Jacksonville Jaguars. Also North Florida Entertainment, which encompasses, concerts, indoor football, semi-pro football, Armada Soccer, and so much more. You've been watching the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Hey, you guys have a great day. This has been episode show number 32. Oh, Tyson Campbell wears number 32. I sent this message to John Gaylor a few minutes ago. Man, John, you see how quick John Gaylor gets back to me? Tyson Campbell, cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They signed a veteran free agent to play the other cornerback. You also have Jones, the second-year guy who was drafted in the third round out of Florida State, who plays hard and is always around the football. I really love the Jags defensive back. Now it's time for the Jags defensive line to give them some help with some effort. And I guess Josh Hines-Allen's got to get the weight down. Said he played at 285 last year. So maybe the players play lighter, can move around better. And maybe when they move around faster, it looks like more effort. Maybe that's what it is. So Josh, big money Hines-Allen. Like Gaylor told me, Liam Cohen said, hey, you make that huge, big money, can't be average. This has been the Teal Shirt Report podcast. I'm your host, Scott. This has been episode show number 32. Tyson Campbell, Jaguars cornerback, wears number 32. Thank you guys for watching the Teal Shirt Report podcast and listening. Have a great day. Again, this has been episode show number 32 of the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Scott, your host, and I'm out.